Hey guys, Night Batman here doing my new video on my Blu-ray collection like I said in the last video, and I will be showing you every Blu-ray I have and also give some small thoughts and reviews on the films that I have. So just a little look. Don't know if you guys can see that, but don't worry, I'll be pulling it out and then we'll be talking more about it. Alright, so stay tuned. Okay, to start off my Blu-ray collection, I have to start off with the compilations, and that would be first the Ultimate Matrix Experience. It has all three Matrix movies. I really like the Matrix. I'm a big Neo fan. I remember watching the first one and just being swept away into their world, and I love watching part 2 and 3 as well, even though not many people did. I love films that are rebellious to society's expectations or ambitions, and it kind of felt like the Matrix was a bit of a statement to that. Like, often they would say to free your mind, and it felt like this is definitely a good result of what would happen if you did, just looking at the things that Neo could do. And, you know, just the things about questioning reality, what's real and what isn't. There's a lot of good material in the first Matrix. A lot of people have seen the references they make to maybe religion or even philosophical ideas. And that's what makes it so great. Of course, as well as the fact that they created the whole slow motion bullet time effect. So inside you'll see the Matrix, the Matrix Reloaded, the Matrix Revolutions, and the Animatrix, all in Blu-ray format and in some really thin cases. These are the thinnest I've ever seen. And it's good that they did this so that they can fit it into this box, and they don't even have any, you know, any manuals or papers to stick in anyway, so they don't really need that use of space. So it helps package the collection pretty well. Matrix Experience, which is a bunch of special features that are taken and helps explain, you know, the making of the Matrix and just the whole world that they built for the film and the franchise. Next up, guys, please don't click away when you see this franchise on Blu-ray, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure. That's the Transformers movies. Transformers, let me just pull it up. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and Transformers Dark of the Moon. Now, these movies definitely aren't great by any standards at all. At least mainly just by the fact that they're fun movies. They're something that you can just turn your mind off of and just watch and let it just, you know, entertain you. And it's good to have movies like that every now and then. We can't always just have something that has us think, or something that is like a work of art. Just something at least to, you know, escape reality and just to be entertained, basically. And it felt like Michael Bay's movies did that, but their plot could have just been a little bit better, and the editing is just way too sloppy, to be honest. But at least it improved with Transformers Age of Extinction. Really love that movie. But Transformers 1, before Age of Extinction came out, was the best. Transformers 1 was okay, or Transformers 1 was good. Transformers 2 was bad. Transformers Dark of the Moon was okay. Almost as good as 1, but not better. But definitely better than Revenge of the Fallen. Next up, I got the Godzilla Criterion Collection. And this is a really cool Blu-ray because it has the movie, you know, in Blu-ray quality, but it's basically just a remastered version of the original 1954 classic. It did stand as a good metaphor for, you know, the atomic age and, you know, the events of Hiroshima and what people, you know, its lasting effect on the world and how people were affected by it. So this was a good movie to not only stand for that, but also to kind of push giant monster movies further. So you really have to give this film credit, even though, to be honest, you also got to give credit to King Kong, which is like the godfather of everything. Another franchise that I really love, it's Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. I just recently got these on Blu-ray. I have the DVDs down here, but you know, when you're having a Blu-ray collection and you love a franchise, you have to upgrade and get the Blu-ray. And it feels kind of weird because now I have 2 DVDs of it, because there's the DVDs that come with these and the ones below. But No space wasted. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Really love this movie. Johnny Depp, his performance as Jack Sparrow, it just started something pretty great and new with pirates. And I also love the relationship between Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann. And man, this movie. Every time before I went to school, as I got ready, I would watch it in the morning. That's how much I loved it. So this one was one of my. This is probably my second favorite in the franchise. Next is Dead Man's Chest. This is my favorite out of the whole franchise since it took the story even darker and further and tried something new with Davy Jones. Really love Davy Jones in the film. Man, the effects with him and his crew, they still hold up to today. And I love all the conflicting character motives in this and how it ended up to the big fight scene at the beach and, well, pretty much the whole island between these three. Yeah, this is just a really fun movie. Pirates of the Caribbean at Road's End. This one, it's definitely the less strong of the three. Sorry for the glare, guys. I'm using my iPod, and I have to use the facing camera just so I can make sure I'm in focus, and so is the Blu-ray. But the story, it was a bit too slow, and to be honest, it felt kind of confusing how it started off because it's like they kind of forgot what happened in the second one, that it felt like they were trying to go a bit new with what's going on in the third. The only reason I say that is because I thought that they were trying to just rescue Jack Sparrow in general, but turns out they were rescuing him because they needed one of his pieces of 8, which kind of came out of nowhere. It just got a little bit too weird with Tia Dalma being Calypso. That just seemed a little too random and convenient that, one of the main characters would be this great god that everyone has mentioned before. So, I don't know, it just seemed like they were trying to make everyone a little too important than they should have been. But it's not a bad movie, it's just not as up there as the first and second. It's definitely not as bad as On Stranger Tides. That's something I'm still questioning on whether or not to get on Blu-ray or to just wait until the price drops to get that. Next up, the original Robocop. If you guys have not seen this, you've really got to check it out. It's a great classic that even up to today still holds up. And of course, I have to have the 2014 reboot. I really like this one. Try to be something its own without being too much like the original, which is something that I think all remakes should do, which this one did well on. It didn't try to copy too much, but it tried to bring out its own ideas, and some of those included things like the relevance of robotics in modern day society. And since, as the world is actually getting closer to using more of this technology, it's nice to see that this is kind of making a statement that either it's just not ready and maybe we're even years farther from it being ready, but there is definitely some good use to it. Man of Steel, I reviewed this film and, definitely mixed with everyone, but I think it's a great modern day retelling of Superman and definitely follows with a lot of the good New 52 stories that feature him, or even some of the origin stories like Birthright and Earth 1. Those were good stories that I followed off, and I actually can't wait for Batman v Superman. Got some concerns, but I'm still excited, and Henry Cavill is definitely this day's Superman. Glad they chose him and can't wait to see more of him, especially in the Justice League movie coming out. The Raid Redemption and The Raid to Barrandal. These two movies are my absolute favorite action movies by far. These are Thai movies. They are directed by Gareth Evans, and I believe he's like a British director or something, but he made, even though he directed the films, he made it feel like an authentic Thai movie. The action, what's great about these films is that the action is so intense, but the film knows when to slow down and give you some character moments. And I actually love part 2 more because it branches out from just being stuck in a building with the raid and giving you more badass characters like these 3 on the back. And, I don't know, there's just so much I want to say because I really love these movies. I think I'm gonna do a review on these later. But yeah, The Raid and The Raid 2, they will probably hold up 10 years from now. That's how good these are. Other than the action, the story is well written, and you can actually see that from the first and the second, they put in ideas that are definitely gonna build over to the next one. And I've seen maybe some ideas that could carry on from this to a third, but maybe not sure on it, since also I hear that part 3 will take place 2 hours before the ending of this, so can't wait to see how that'll go. And these movies I just love watching over and over. Not just for the action, but also definitely for the story. You guys have definitely got to try those out. Next up, Pacific Rim. If you guys love giant monster movies or even giant mech suits, and well, if you haven't already seen it, you're missing out. You gotta just go watch it. It's just plain good old fun. Directed by Guillermo del Toro. The Amazing Spider-Man. I really like this reboot, and the reason for that is because it feels a bit more comic book accurate, but at the same time, it takes a few risks by making the story of Peter's parents a bit more, interesting, and actually, they try to make it more of a mystery kind of thing, and something that Peter tries to find out on. And I think that was pretty engaging. And they did a great job at casting in this film. Andrew Garfield is the perfect choice for Peter Parker. Finally a Peter Parker and a Spider-Man who is cracking jokes and is, just having fun being Spider-Man. And that's something that really lacked in the Sam Raimi films. But unfortunately, it doesn't carry well to The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It had some good promise, but it just had too much crammed into it. The story was way too cluttered that it kind of helped to bring it down, to be honest. But to me, in my personal opinion, I think that if they had taken out Electro, it actually would have been a better movie because the characters would tie in way more better. And Max Dillon doesn't even have that much of a proper connection to Peter and Gwen as Harry does. So when you kind of think about it, or at least the way I did, if you kind of take out the scenes with Electro, the movie wouldn't have really been that bad, to be honest. But Jamie Foxx's performance though was really good, so you have to give him props for that. I guess they just had too much of the story going on, too much ideas that they couldn't either compress it or either simplify it or just simply take out. Star Trek by J.J. Abrams. Really love this movie too. Before it came out, I remember seeing the teaser trailer and thinking, wow, this looks pretty interesting. It's just the Enterprise being built, but it had some good, it had some good mystery to it of where it can go, and it didn't disappoint. It was a really fun movie, and it, instead of being a reboot, it actually acknowledges that it is an alternate universe. It's cool to see how the characters still come into their, their fated destinies with Jim Kirk being captain of the Enterprise. That was a good journey. But of course, the only thing I really hated about that was that it felt like Jim was lucky in how he became captain, because if Bones hadn't freaking put him into the ship, then he wouldn't have had that chance of becoming first officer and then taking over when Spock was unable to be captain. But other than that, the story was really fun. It was it had good action, really humorous. The ensemble cast, they worked great together, and I just wish that we had gotten more of them together in Star Trek Into Darkness. The one thing I was really hoping for was more of the crew being a crew, but unfortunately, like, Scotty got a bit less screen time, or well, he just kind of became shafted until later in the movie. But then there's Chekhov, who really got less screen time. But pretty much, I love this movie too. The story way more intense than the first because of Benedict Cumberbatch, one of my favorite actors, who plays. Spoiler alert if you guys have not seen it, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows by now, or even knew before it came out. He plays Khan, and he is a great villain. He is now one of my favorite villains, at least this version of Khan, since I haven't really seen much of Star Trek, except for a few of the movies, or I think I've actually seen almost all the movies, just not really the series. But I did see Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, and Benedict's Khan is just way more superior. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with. And this is a really good sequel, and I can't wait for part 3. I just really hope it doesn't fail, since J.J. Abrams won't be back directing like he did for first and second. But still high hopes for it, and can't wait to see the crew back. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. The famous and highly praised trilogy that reinvented Batman by Christopher Nolan. And without these, comic book movies wouldn't be at a higher standard than they are now, because they have all been trying to work as hard as the people who made these films did, and making good quality films, which they all are. And I will forever love these films, because so far, even though it's not as Batman as I would expect, this is the best iteration of Batman you can see on screen. And the writing is just great at how they are character focused, and also taking in some really good moments from the comic books. And I really have to applaud Christopher Nolan and his crew with what they've done with this accomplishment. I've already done my review for these, so if you want to, you can check them out. They were my first reviews, so you're gonna have to scroll through my my library a bit. Next up, actually, all I have left now are series. It's just 4 Blu-rays for 2 series, but just get some quick thoughts on it. Hannibal Season 1 on Blu-ray. Gonna be getting Season 2 because I really love not only the Hannibal series, but TV series, but also just the Hannibal films in general. I really love Silence of the Lambs. Red Dragon was okay. Hannibal was maybe my least favorite, but still okay nonetheless. And then Hannibal Rising, the worst, but still, Hannibal Lecter is a really great character, and I was so happy when they said that they were going to be doing this series. Sherlock, Season 3, 2, and 1. You guys have got to check it out. Modern day retelling of Sherlock Holmes, and the writing is so great and makes Sherlock just it just shows why Sherlock Holmes and mysteries are such great great things in life. So yeah, check those out. And that's my review. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Later.